You know, I thought would be more interesting to get on record would be both of your observations, actually, on the individual player on the team. Because there is no one here has ever commented on each member of the team. And for instance, if you took, let me just get the section which has the team roster. Yeah, start from the goalie and working out. Give me just a minute to find it here. I just want to hear your observations on them. For example, Andrew All, age 30 from the Providence Club. Yeah. What position did he play? Left back. He was left back? Right, yeah. Oh, was good. That's correct. The see, was good. You know, there was a split. There were a number of native-born Americans, and there were a number of not native-born Americans. They were foreigners. Andy Allen was one of the Scotsmen. Right. Well, how was he as a player? This right. Was he good? Quite. Very good player. Look at that for defense, speed, Diana. Yeah, he could bring the ball up. Good man. Yeah, Wayne could bring the ball up, and when you got it, you could play up. Yeah. Not one of these bustling long balls. Oh, no, Andy, I'll shove that up the wing. The wing grabs on the inside man's open. Yeah, no. And they really looked all the true professional soccer in every respect. Arnie, your position on the team and what inside left was inside left. Yeah. Your official position was outside right. Yeah. So as an inside forward in those days, yeah, you knew the need to have a classy fullback pushing the ball up because you were working in those days, weren't you? Yeah, up and back, the back dog and you side men did the work. That's right. Well, that's for the wingers too, eh? The wing, well, they stayed out. They really got the ball. Yeah, yeah. But how many would be inside right? Yeah. The way we were clear, I could clear on the right. The ball would come just ahead. That was it. That was the product player. It was made. So Andy All was a classy forward like that. I thought he was the left. Yeah, play left back. Like he was the left back. Yeah, the lead very critical linchpin. Oh, yeah. All right. Then the next guy was, you don't hear much about, Michael Bookie. Michael, did he travel? He would travel. Slavia. From Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland? Yeah. Detroit. Maybe he played with someone in Detroit. They played to bind in straight right position. Remember? Yeah. And they went on tour, you know. Yeah, he played the NFL. He wanted the American, he been going to the native part of it. All right. Yeah. 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 Let me just keep on going. Of course, you, Dad, were the outside right? You were 20 at the time, played for the New York Giants. Then Douglas. Was it Jimmy Douglas? Yeah. Was the goalkeeper. Also, the 28 goalkeeper, Olympic goalkeeper. Bam got that down. That's what he was. Now, he was from Kearney, New Jersey. He played with the National New York Knicks. American blood. Did you guys play against him when he was in the... Yeah, the amateur, not me, because I came up to New Bedford, Fall River area. Yeah. And your dad, God goes to them, with Jersey, New York. Right, yeah. Until we got pros, we never knew each other. Yeah, that's right. How would you rate Jimmy Douglas as a goalkeeper? Oh, he was good, because the only trouble with Jerry, he was very delicate. Remember? He was sick all the way down to the board. Sick every day, all the way in, and then going down to the non-board. Yeah, and I told him, don't worry, on the way back, it's downhill, it's easier. And was he a good, stay on the line goalie, or was he good on the angles? Did he? He knew his angles. He was a steady goal. He had that sense of feeling that. Did you ever watch Friday the Outback from the Cardinals? Remember this guy that used to dive all over the flavor? Yes. Who's his name? Oh, I forget. But anyway, Douglas wasn't like that. He was right for a while. Good position? Oh, it mattered. Yeah, good. But he was one of the older players on the team. He was 32. That's right, yeah. I say he was on the 20. I think he hit Morehouse for the oldest tournament. Sergeant Morehouse? Yeah. I don't know how old Johnny was. But Morehouse was 29 at the time, was he? No, he didn't. The oldest players on the team were Morehouse, Bart McGee, and Jimmy Douglas. Yeah, that's it. Tommy Flory was the captain. Yeah. Now, he was 27, came from Rhode Island, played for New Bedford. So you must have played for Arnie. And he played with Providence, too. He did? Yeah. What position was he? Outside left. Well, he was the left, mostly a winger. Mostly outside. Miller pulled the switch there. Yeah. But they worked out, but nonetheless, with the switches, you never thought. What was the switch? Oh, boy, with an outside left. The bottom of the game's on the outside left. Yeah, they know the way we captain. I mean, boring. Yeah, what to do it. See, the thing with the played two wingers on the left. And we had, wait a minute, who played on the left wing? Fleury? They played inside and part of the outside. When the team elected me captain, you had to have a place for him. A two-man captain went outside. They played. Oh, I said, the women. So the team elected him captain. Yeah, I mean, they both. Yeah. But then the other problem came up. See? Yes. And so they had to find a place for him. So he had to take my place, and I took off for one. And then I didn't realize. I didn't appreciate that. It was like you called them, they went in the way. Couldn't fault Florida. But I hear you. I hear you. You know. But that was what they did. See, there weren't many of us but that like there's Lake and New Standard right there. Yeah. Well, you have always said, and you've been quoted a number of times in the interviews as saying that any member of that squad, anyone, how many of them were about 17? 16. 16 could have were interchangeable, could have played. Oh, like yeah. You played inside like that, you know, and inside like Andy. Yeah, sure. I could play for it. So, okay, so with Tommy Fleury, was he a native-born American? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And Jimmy Douglas, too? Yeah, Jimmy Douglas born in Newark. We found that. Okay. Yeah. And then the next guy here is Gallagher. Jimmy Gallagher. He was 29 from Brooklyn. He played with the National. So he was a teammate of Jimmy Douglas. Yeah. So I think been on the Olympics. I didn't know anyway. Well, no. He played with the New York National. Oh yeah. So I got Matson. Yeah. But what position did he play? Jerry had played against me every time we played him. How did he tell? Somebody had told me he was that. Yeah. Well, you know what? A busted small shot. Yeah, and attack on it was a busting attack. Typical Scottish. Yeah. Or a funny Jimmy could come with his light foot. Good ball. He could push a ball. What other than they were very good at feeding. Well, feeding. That's like in the words. Yeah. Well, you hear a lot of talk about the work rate. Do you remember when England won the cup and they were talking about the work rate of the team? Well, how would you class the work rate of the inside forwards on that? The 830. Well, at the position, work harder. Or as hard as anybody on the club. And with center half. You're always in the play. Be it offense or defense. Up on offense, and you're quick, fast, back on defense. That's right. So that's where you are. You're up and down if you're playing it right. You know how to play position, that's the way it was played. You had 5 forward, when they come on defense, but they had 5 out back, 4 fullback. You had to do both sides. So that's what you were. And see, I didn't say, man, I know they would, if the ball was going down on this side, right? The inside left, if it come down to be the inside left, the inside line without getting buried is inside, man. You have to be there. Remember? And he would be in this position, net. If he's inside left, get the ball. He's inside right, he's got to get up here, get that ball. That's like your assistant want to know. You get yourself in a good position so your teammate can get rid of a ball when he's challenged. You got to cook. That way you don't lose the ball. You know, now we got the ball, possession of a ball in soccer. Bye. Oh, that's right. That's where the goal comes. And you need a ball to get in the net, sir. Well, like you're not got possession, how can you score? So this guy, Gallagher, Jimmy Gallagher, was tough on attack with that Butler and when he distributed, he was really classic. Was he a typical Scotch guy with a long ball up the wing, or would he put them through? He wasn't, no, you take that all, I've seen this, you're talking about individuals now. Yeah, and, you're not being fault to any of these guys. No, I'm not looking at you laughing, There's not really fault in these guys. No, I never played. No, I'm kind of interested in knowing the style. For instance, if you got a Scottish fella, halfback, back in the day, you're liable to get a guy that would pick up the ball and stagger him out to the wing. So I played long ball out to the wing. if you were playing in the European League or in the South America, you get a fancy short facet. I'm just curious as to whether Jimmy Gallagher was that style of guy, that Scottish
They kind of like, he got right into that, he's out back in your press, so you shove it back and take up a position, and that's the way the game went.
How about Jessel? Is it Jimmy Jessel? He was the only amateur.
He came from Penn State.
He played for the Philadelphia Cricket.
And Jimmy was the only interpreter we had. He knew how to talk Spanish. Yeah,
Is that right?
They to get him on the club, so we could get by with somebody could talk Espanol. That it got guys like your father and I have a straight English tongue and it stayed there forever.
Well, the next guy, Billy Gonzalez, from Fall River, but he spoke Portuguese. Surely he could have.
He could buy up. It's good for the Portuguese. And to speak Portuguese in the house. Sure. With a special friend of mine was growing up we were playing the opponents at age 14 and rivals, the cities were close and always playing against him.
He's at Fall River.
Yeah. So, and I was New Veterans 14 miles away, so we used to play his team and his team was my team. And so, we've always known him. Yeah. And he used to take me home on Saturday night, but then because we'd play a Kingsley Coach to get the New York boat up to New York to play next day against Chicago and some of them. Yeah.
You used to take a boat up.
Oh, yeah.
Stay over in Steamer? Yeah.
Yeah, you went to sleep and you woke up in New York.
Yeah.
But you woke up in the morning. Used to that. Yeah, part of this was support.
What did they pay you guys in the thing?
Well, I thought I signed up for, I think it was 35 bucks a week, and it's depression. At Bud Light, or Soup Line,
that was a lot of money.
And the work is only giving you 2 or 3 days a week, I signed and blew a chance. Well, I gave up a chance to go to the Olympics. You can't eat penny. You need
right. What were you getting with it?
I got $15 a year. Well, it's a similar to thing. 2 games every week, 2 games a week. Yeah, $30 to limit. That is all right. And I would get paid in single bills. Big law.
And that isn't that right?
Well, I was the less you get paid, because Newark were poor. Yeah, and we were at the stadium, right? Oh, yeah, great, David. But we went to Fall River. It was over 20,000 million, for in November. But Newark had enough money out of that game to last them, Yeah, that was the thing again. A good big cut. Yeah, good cake. Little single dollar bills. That was a lot, man. $2 was flipping around. The real money was $6 for 2 days. And I had some left over. I used to give it to my help her out there. Yeah? Now they tell me the baseball players get $45 or $60 per day. And it makes me want to throw up. It does. I was kidding all that. You can't.
How about Bart McGee? He was from Philadelphia, too. He was at the New York Nationals. So he was a teammate. The New York Nationals had Jimmy Douglas, Jimmy Gallagher, Bart McGee,
and
3 there were,
and they had that. What's his name?
And Miller, with Eddie Miller was coaching.
Yeah.
Oh,
He played for him at that time.
Oh, so Miller was the coach. He was from the National.
Yeah.
Well, then they had 3 other players from the National.
Yeah.
And the third one I just mentioned was Bart McGee.
Yeah. That's right.
It was the best head on the country. I mean, he's a singer.
Oh, he was good. Yeah, it was a good thing. Like,
it doesn't matter where we're like, but it was, come on, Bob, let's go.
Yeah, but they get second and you think he was a beautiful second. He could have been a looking at it.
What was his position?
Outside left.
All right, he was the outside left. You were talking about before.
He scored the first goal of World Cup history. And I think that was the first World Cup goal. It was. Yeah, and Patton scored the first hat trick.
Well, you know something? We did some military dialogue. Do you know that is reported incorrectly in the New York Times?
The New York Times?
Yeah, because I went back and did research on it. And one of the New York Times had a totally incorrect story because it attributed the 3 goals to different players.
Yeah.
Okay. And what we did is I went back and I went to the book, and of course my father remembered my diary's around. All that. Oh, you have a diary, don't you?
Somewhere. It's almost, I don't know what
I got it. I know. Hey, I might got it. But as I remember, I remember also thinking that was it McGee must have scored the first goal, and that's not attributed to him. The first goal in the world. It's still, the records are wrong. And Tabnoid does not get credit for our hat trick.
I'm tied up.
And we're going to correct the record. Yeah, I did. Absolutely true.
And I tell you, it was against, it was Paraguay.
Was it Paraguay Nets?
Well, it's the second game.
The second game, it was against Paraguay and
Got the three.
yeah.
This Belgium, Berlin. Did he get two against Belgium? Here's some. Belgium scores 3-1.
3-0. Well, 3-0. Was it not?
The other, well, against us to one. I think, collapse.
Yeah. I'll do it.
2-5. Can't play 10 against 11.
Well, let me just keep on going. Arnie, you're like that. You're only 23 then.
Yeah.
You were one of the youngest on the team last year, right?
Yeah.
And you were playing with Providence at the time. Now you're a coach. And is it? Well, the team of record at Providence.
The team of record is Providence. I was down in Baltimore with veterans when the letter come from my dad, and I used to send the money home every 2 weeks that I got paid. I send my mother this check for $50, you know.
Yeah.
And so my father sent me this letter, which from the United States Football Association, asking me to come up to New York but try out. There was the World Cup coming on. They were trying to pick a team to represent the country, and they would pay all expenses. And that the date was such a date, and I think it was lost on field. A Starlight Park, yeah, against that cold home field, yeah.
Against the high color.
Yeah, I always got the best team.
Yeah, that was Arnold Schwartz's team.
Yeah, and what they were playing, yes, and him and Boston, all that game, yeah. So we went, and we played. I think they put me center forward for half, and I hit the bar with like one, and I was the guy that went to get the ball in the net, and that we all played fairly well. What they said after, they cut the squad, and they would mail you a letter telling you whether you come to the next game or not, yes? So your father, like the rest of us, we were waiting for the mail, and a week or so, then they together with it, and pick the play again. So you go again, because she was right there in New York. I had to come on the boat from there. That's right. And we went again, and then you wait again. And it finally, tell you that you've been accepted to play, and you're going to be in the World Cup, and go get your shots. And we bought the Cornish Arms Hotel at this day jet, and what I didn't, and your father did, and then we were there a day or so, and they took it down for the uniforms, right? Shoes and all that. But
well, did you go through those trials also? We've never talked about that. Did you?
Oh, yeah.
How many trial games were there?
I'm going to actually 2.
We built your bet against High was one.
Accor was 1, and New York National back at the other.
They get the New York National.
I say something. It was at the polo grounds. It was Starlight Park and the bowling court. The bowling ground was right. Starlight was the first.
Do you remember the outcome of either one of those games?
I don't. I think we beat the Accors, but then we beat the other. Yeah, I think they won both matches. I can't remember that. And we played somebody else after the team was selected. We played either Accor or somebody. Maybe that's when we played them again. Well, I don't we listen if overall. But yeah, we beat them. Yeah, yes, that's right. Yeah, we won.
So I have a newspaper report on that. I can't remember who that was. I went and dug it out of the archive.
Yeah. Yeah, they're up with the game. You're winning a lot.
How is it? Yeah, there is information around. Your diary must have a lot of good stuff in it. We'll talk about that. How about George Morehouse?
Oh, great man. Oh, he was good.
Right fullback?
Left fullback from Liverpool.
29. He was one of the American.
Who was a professional in Liverpool. He came out to play the professional league. Yeah, like that. Yeah. Give me a real good. I would say George was the best player on that team.
Is that
yeah, he's good. Oh, yeah. I think George was a good. I think George Morehouse was the best player on that. Good defense player. He could play. He used to play outside left at times too.
Yeah, I know that way to win. Yeah.
He's a very, very good fullback.
The next guy well, Tottenham.
Oh, you know Bill.
Bill. Bert.
I know Bert. Bertram. It made it Bill Bertram, not Bill. Bill.
You said it, Billy Gonzalez.
Yeah, Bill Gonzalez. They don't say Gonzalez. They just say Gonzalez.
Gonzalez said it.
That's way. You talk about Tottenham.
Yeah, I've done all that.
Well, I was trying to get to vote.
That's what I've had. But he came from Paul also.
Yeah.
Right? And as well with his position, he was
out of forward.
Now, he was just about the same age as you, right? When you was a young fellow that fast. Yeah, no, do that. Was that what they call him? Do they call him Burke or Tyler? Burke. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Burke. And he was the center forward. It went like the wing. He could run. If you gave a ball, playing inside, right, and you see the back, and you shove the ball through the middle, well, you got it. Go back, beat the button, lean go, and he would bring the waist and get the ball, take it and whack it. And when he scored, he got 3 goals. That's the beat, took it. Yeah, and he could also, shoot and that and all that. But, when the back's nice when you're playing guys that don't know him and keep it there on the line, keep enough that and all of a sudden, go like, shoot. You feel like a dead rabbit. Or you make a mother. Yeah, quick. Man, I wasn't afraid. Would he hit first time, or was he one of those guys? Any guy, you'll make it. You can win it any time. Yeah, that's the rule. And the thing let a defense play. Well, you don't trap a ball when you got somebody around you. Hit it because they'll rob you. Yeah, so you got to learn to hit that first time shot. Any inside outside ball, it should have that. How big was he? He was tall. A lot of weight. I was 7%. I have. Let's say, we're 5'9", I am. I thought you could go to shit. Let's say, yeah. Wasn't a fat heavy guy. Was he a native? Yeah. Going to New Bedford. I mean, Fall River. Born in Fall River. Not on the football there. Like I do right in the back. You don't have to go on in the old gun to be a good soccer player. Oh, I know that. Him and Dick G and all that, How about Phil Sloan? 23, New York Giant. Phil Sloan. Ellen Sloan. And that coach. Come here, the little Jewish boys, right now? And I think, they should guys do that guy. For me, yeah. He cut records of the trip. Those Chile played it with us. So the Europe Giant was it? Yeah. He was late out behind me. And the little puppy guy, remember? Yeah. And so he played all the shooting games too. Coming down the flat. He was the fellow you said to photograph everywhere. And he did all the guys done shot. Well, all the Jewish guys that were headless. Remember, he used to meet up and Philly had these guys. And he used to recruit up all these guys. It's his stuff, so, and the guys were tickled to death, yeah. And that's what Philly did. He was all around to meet those guys. Yeah, he was a nice guy. It's not like Philly, but I like him on that. Yeah. How about Tracy? Raphael Tracy. What did they call him? Who was it? Tracy was the guy. He's the guy that got his knee broke just before halftime against Argentina. And after the total was over, he was so down. Bear in mind, we're about 75,000 miles away, 100 miles away. And we've been gone a long while, the 2-week trip and planned. And he was down. And he was a Catholic boy from St. Louis. And I used to go to communion with Bill down top of the patent or a confession. He was always belonged to the other club. Come on, no, I was always with him. And the priest and I would always make friends. Precious and I, we got on great. Nice guys, I like him, they like me. But anyway, when he got hurt, he was down. And I thought, what can I do to help her? I mean, Tristan, she goes, I'll go down and visit the priest. I'll ask you if we can't come up with sin. So I went down. Good morning, Father. Good morning, Anna. Come on in, I was friendly, So I said, I don't know if you've seen it in the paper. I got a buddy. Got his knee broke. He's a nice Catholic boy, brought up in the Catholic faith. I wondered if you could find time to come and see him. I said, he's down in the spirit. I know that would give him a lift. Sure. What hotel you in? And they call it Hotel des Anglais. I think it's over it's I don't know, but that's how they said. Yeah. So one day coming out off the field from training, we're going by the room. Rock was all excited, waving me. Hey, Arnie, came on to play. Couldn't work it today. Couldn't put it just, he says, you don't go on the man. I said, what happened? Father so-and-so came to see me. I said, he did? Gee, that's not. He says, he's a great guy. I said, sure is. So he said to me, he paid you a wonderful compliment. I said, well, he did. I like the guy like you. We're great friends, Rob. No, he said. He told me, he said, you was as good as any Catholic.
And I thought, I struck me funny. I'm like, what the hell are you laughing at? I said, I never felt it any better when he was right. But him and I, great friends, yeah, I don't know it. Yeah,
Arnie, you said you made an interesting observation there, but there'll be a lot of people interested in some of the trivia.
don't take me to the wall.
No, you had told me last night that on that team, that it was interesting, there were only about 4 Protestants.
Yeah,
And the majority, there were 16 that made the trip.
right.
So of the entire team, there were only 4 Protestants. It's just a curious piece of trivia. Yeah, true. But it must have been very well received down there.
No, but I didn't. We invited the went up to find your dad went in church, but it's. Going back to the free soda, the dad the other way from the training table and all that. But nobody ever mentioned that like that on the trip. Well, whether it was kind of big a project, we never thought that up.
What, going out to something? No, I mean, religion was never an issue.
No. Oh, no.
What you on Friday?
On Friday. But it didn't change anything for me. I don't know what the other lad was doing. Not by your father. It's just the way you brought up, and there was a high respect. There was not like your dad said, I wish the whole world could get along the way that team got along, in all kind of ways. And then religion and all, Great.
How about Frank Vaughan? He is a teammate of Tracy. He was with Ben Miller from Quad Pro St. Louis. That's why they come.
Well, if you saw Frank Vaughan, he would be out there. He could head walks, head eight. It's big Nolly. But I'm telling you, you're a good son of boy. Yeah. No, I don't. I feel that I now. I have a person eyes on up. I think because he fasting though he was a ball and she got no over his one of it. I need to put all extend.
How big was he? How tall was he?
He's taller. He's about my size, About an average size, he'd be me. A quarter taller than me. Well, taller than the plump side.
You were?
He was, not me.
Oh, I wondered. You have to
find it on your gallery shadow like your father. Number 1 on a door. You're supposed to.
How did this fella, Alexander Wood?
Yeah.
The Holly operator from Detroit.
Oh, we just know like to come down here. Well, yeah, when he come play with us, that's how we know him. And a great guy.
What was his position? Do you remember?
Left fullback.
You had left.
He can't play out. Not from a right back. He played right. The fullback. Left.
Wait, huh?
That's what he did. Yeah. His position was
Yeah,
but they put him on the right side. Yeah.
So let me test your memory. Start from the back and work up. Give me the defense. Yeah, we work them out.
Maybe Bobby was worked on a ball house. Tracy and the old, right? Yeah. All right. Well, this is a team that played, right? I'll get it. Roger, Gonzalez, or Arnie, Hot Mike, Flying, or Fritz Fuller, the Polish boy's name again. Mike Bookie, Claudia Mike Bookie, and Van McGee. That one. Right? Yeah. And then we had Jacobs. Oh, Jimmy Gentle, yeah. And the translator. Chris Wall. Yeah, that's totally up, yeah. I was thought he was old. What idea, right? Early lawyer, those one. I don't know. I know.
We had this fella that didn't make the trip. He told me there was 17.
I don't know if anybody did 60.
No, I thought there was one fella that didn't make the trip for some reason. Remember we talked about it, because there was a there are a number of erroneous articles and reports on this World Cup. One fellow put out a book where he's listed 17 players who went on that trip. And I will talk about some of what are clearly misstatements that ought to be corrected a little bit later on. One of the things that's incorrect is he lists 17 players that make the trip. I don't recall the 17th player. I don't recall his name. But we have to set the record straight.
Well, we don't make any mistakes about our age. We don't want to be any older than we are.
Oh, John. How old are you now, Ernie?
80.
How old are you, Dad?
From the 9th December. Yeah, yes. I'm cat. This trophy.
Yeah. But let me ask you a couple of questions on the cup itself. I just scribbled some notes here.
Gene,
tell me, let me ask this question of my father, and I'll let you jump in. When you think of the overall class of the American team, okay, How would you stack? You saw a lot of teams play it after that. How would you stack? How would you stack the class of that American team up against the class of the?
We were anyway this class. Look, no question about it. We were the same class with the best team on anyway. What about it? Yeah. Whenever that anyone is great games against a good team, we're like we always thought we can win. You can the question going on and saying, only thing about it, the game keeps changing. The players never change. That's true. That's the game changes. But players never.
And how about this? The style of play that you felt used as compared with these Latin teams.
Well, it's different. The Latin teams they're the shot passing. It's quicker than scared rabbit.
Isn't it?
Ball handlers, superb ball man. Comes and they're great players. They fought a different kind of soccer that, while we call them a good American soccer league, yeah, it was great. This team, they were sharp and quick. And this was how they played. They did play the long game. And they were talking about the American style. For instance, if you're inside, you got a ball, and if I look outside, your father's open. I don't care. I'll fire you. I'll wire you up. You better wing out. Well, they didn't do that. They'll find a guy in and give it to him and then work it up. Yeah, I'll make the hole. I would hit it. Yeah, see, that was the difference in those guys. That's just about it. Right, Jimmy? The ball meant, nice day, the ball did more work. Make the ball be there. The players are doing so much work. You don't, that ball would be sent 50 yards up and let to the guy. Oh, well, that was important. When you were to field soccer, we looked at the play and you automatically bang it. So, you've never dropped it, it wouldn't get there because you're so used to doing it. That it's just a habit. Yeah, and there's no question that not being done and done right because you do it all the time. It's, it's like having a glass of water. It's so easy. I guess it sounds odd the kids are trying to play, but I guess like anything else, something you can do. Yeah, you can do. Yeah. Something on me. The girls today, they've got cut pen. The marks are down close. You notice the mark, I just look like, we love mark cut tight. They didn't mark. Terminology means that, but what markets? Yeah, well, they're covering to the area. Yeah, very tight. We don't have that type of covering. Well, if you get tight covering, you've got to move. Get away from them, boss. Yeah, give yourself some breathing, Betty. You know the way, and if they bother you, somebody else is open. Well, we always had an open line, remember? Yeah, well, I thought the left wing was lighting. The right wing was open. Yeah, but you moved your shut the low angle. The right wing was attacking. Yeah. It side ball was watching that left wing on.
Was that what worked against, when you played Pelican, for instance?
Yeah.
And Paraguay.
You see your kids and after out back, you get that foot cool. You see him up and whack it out there, and he didn't. And if the forward line hasn't got time to come up, he cuts into the goal.
Yeah, that's right, good.
And had to go at it, so to speak. And that's what happened.
So, in your opinion, do you think that was what made you very effective against Belgium and Paraguay?
They call it the American style football.
They did.
That's it. Now, I think the point is just that we beat these teams so easy. Yeah. Yeah, look, I like this on the Monday, right? We played all kinds of games against them. Yeah, but we beat them so easy. And Paraguay is the best automatic team at that time. They're champions. Yeah, that was it.
Well, that brings up another point. Then you guys spent 14 days on the Monargo.
Oh, it's not a mullet.
Give me and you trained every day.
Yeah.
Right? Give me a typical day. Literally, think about it for a minute and compare notes. Give me a typical day on the Monargo. What time would you get out? Would you have breakfast?
What up to the 6 of belated? Monday? Yeah. 6 o'clock.
Yeah, right. You're off on that day, right? I don't know how many miles you did, and we ran around the deck. And when we were finished, Jock was there. We bottle of black fruit, was it? Who was that? Jock Cole? Jock was say that? Cole?
No, Cole. Yeah, January.
What did he have? He had the blackberry brandy. That was to help you. There's your fit. And I'm like, I really think you give it to the player. Or for him.
Him, he just catch them line while he give you.
I ain't saying it, but I don't know. That's all right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, after you did the training, how long would you run? Like for an hour?
Hour.
And then what? I mean, he would buy for breakfast. But what kind of meals did they get on board? Well, we got a very good meal, but they had these boards up, for work passes, because the dishes don't come sliding in. And then there was a sign up that the captain said, "Keep right, put in looks cleaner on the day." What that's making up. That damn dome but I got, that rough trip, by the way, man, we were supposed to get down in the Southern Cross. Low bottom. Yeah. So they put out a nice thing called the Monarch. They didn't sell down. They went down like this. Remember? Yeah. Well, and moved my right. I put, I just rolled on. And every one of them ate down every day, wishing you sick head in like as a knuckle feeling. Whoa. And I had a touch of it myself, and I thought, well, don't give into it. So I thought I'd go for breakfast. I didn't even try it. So, in order to go to breakfast, you had to pass the galley. Nothing worse than the food, But I think, well, and I ran back galley. They got to get to the table with the guy, and we talking, mind beyond that. He was on the boat. That's when they went to ship. Out of that, I had to go running up to the top deck and, clean the fishes, feeding it back down. And, so I had only a few days, but Jimmy Brown was that. But they had these things up, like your dad was saying, when the boat went that way, that instead of the dishes rolling up and breaking, it was like a board. We got in, and that went around. Well, it saved all the dishes there, it was all right. So we stopped there in the afternoon, and what did you do the rest of the morning? You only trained for an hour, and then you they took saving. So and then there was a golf thing, a football board, and a shovel, and a golf button. Boom, and that's what we had, yeah. And then well, it seemed to go kind of quick the days. It did more than them. It did all the afternoon together. So you'd run in the morning. Yeah. You'd have, and then before breakfast. Yeah. And then you'd have breakfast. Yeah. Then what would you do? Just relax on the play board or whatever. Yeah, they gave me an hour, so then after that, what would you do? Go run some more after the lunch. We did exercise. Was another thing. Yeah, gym things like that, right? And you have to bit on the light side. Well, you've done your heavy training in the morning for your wind sprints and that. Who would lead you in that? Who was the trainer, or would you just do it yourself? Well, all joke or not, Arnie. Well, you never joined it. No, he was a trainer. Yeah, he shot on, wasn't it? Yeah, he just shot left hand along the elbow. Is he an American? Oh, no, he discussed that. Really? Then? Yes. But that shop was very religious. They like Jack. You couldn't sweat on them, boy. Yeah, he doesn't like you saying, even the oldest thing, even though that we didn't swear much, all Sunday school boy, that. I know, I bet that, a lot of the photographs that you took, Arnie, were with a pipe. Did any of the guys smoke? Or drink? Andy all no. Did he? Andy smoked a pipe. Billy Gone sells that two pipes. Yeah. And the first time I started smoking, my life was on that trip. I am 23 years old. They wanted to smoke. Wanted to play pro soccer, and I wasn't going to cut my weight. So here we had, he had these two pipes. And so he gave me. He said, you should smoke this pipe on it. It tastes good. He said, I like my pipe. And he said, it's satisfying. It's a contentment, a relaxation. So, I shared it with him. So him and I, up and outside, and I got to the point where I kind of liked it. And tobacco was cheap. Oh, yeah. She was entitled. It was a mile. You go in that marketplace, but anyway, we got that. And so that's how I started smoking. But Bert Patnod was a cigar smoker. Well, and you can buy them cheap things. So, and he was all smoking cigars. And on the way home, he ran out. Just saying, that's tough for cigar smoking. And I had a box, which I was bringing home. So I met a friend. I bought you something from South America. And it was nice. Yeah. And had good cigars. And he came after me. You know those cigars? I said, yeah, forget it. Well, no. He says, you pay so much. I said, yes. I'll give you a double. Right now. Catch it. I said, but knock yourself. Keep telling you. They're for friends when I go home. Because I gotta have something to give. Give me a friend.
Then he get me the next thing. He was on content, but I stuck to I never saw, I don't know what he did. He wanted to smoke it out anyway. Well, I got the bug of Marin, and I wrote his love letter. I didn't tell you that. You know, I heard about that, though. Oh, didn't you? And I never understood why you wrote the letter. He said he wasn't too good in English or language. Maybe he's a telepath. You know, yeah. So I said, I want you to write this letter for me to my girlfriend now. He said, it's all right. Give it. Now, well, you're all right. You know, it's just in that. Tell her this and tell her that, you know. And then he walked up to me and, well, you know, you're finished now. So the poor girl was hanging there. I never knew her. And I'd be on the deck, and I'd say, well, with the watching the moonlight on the waves reminds me of the gleam in your eyes on the top of Central, you know, and all the romantic crap I ever read. You know, plenty about it decided to bail. He got home from South America in 1 month, and he was married. Well, that was Stephen. Yeah, and I just... He's Florida, or Beth, and it's been home a month, and the letters I were driving on, I did the trip. I'm married in a month's time, but yeah. Well, listen, you spent 14 days on that ship. Yeah, it was a 14-day trip, and you trained every day. When you came off the ship, I mean, didn't you have sea legs? I mean, you was good to kick Mother Earth again. It's been a long time to see for us. But you know, how long did it take to get back on the wet, cold day? I wouldn't practice. What practice? What tour was that? Oh, we stopped, when they stopped that day at Redo, you know, we had that day to kick it over. Yeah, that's all we had. They were talking practice the scope field. Oh, you mean in Montevideo? Yeah, Cat Field. Oh, and really, coming down. Well, we had to stop there. There's something to do with the supplies and all that bit. Until we took it out and we went kicking the ball. That's right. Yeah, I remember that. I got egg because I put my ankle up there. But then we landed in Montevideo with a cold, wet day. And I give Jimmy back. I've got a soft dad in a trench coat. No, I wear a trench coat. I lay here in the tropics. So I thought I had white duck, shot weights, and the temperature was way down. Cold, we had to sleep in the training yet. This was July, of course. Well, if you just here's the stomach by going down that, the end of it fast out, went down the end of the raining, way down the bottom there. You know, it's the tips and that tree, it's a long way down. So this is why. So was that the kind of weather condition? During that tournament? No, so we got, yeah, that tournament didn't have too much good weather. Although, if it did rain, it was all right, you know. What it went if we know it up or not. Sure. But that's the way it went for the weather. But do you remember when you docked, when the Menargo docked? What time of day did it come in? Was there a crowd there? Yeah. For spring the afternoon. Is that what it was? Yeah, we were pulling me out. I got the picture like it was you did in brown. And then we had with a big flag over the mast. Yeah, up the rail. And while I stood there, because we're dying to get on down again, down the river, and the reporters come dashing on, and they put a nice piece in the paper, "Welcome North American," in English, I think. I think I sent that up there. I'm a welcoming team there, you know, and I thought, that's nice. But we were hounded by the reporters. Sure, everywhere we went, you ate the breakfast for this, for that, you turn around, and you bumped into these guys. Because that's it, right? Or we're all over the place. Sketches, but the artists, they draw, they couldn't. Yeah, but they all look. But I was amazed at that, of the love of the game in the country. And the papers, you know, that big pit, big soccer ball with the laser, so players, this and that, touches all this fast, and yeah, we couldn't read it. And in the shop there was gold football to put on the used to wear Washington, hang a gold football. Yeah, they sold all stuff like that. And every store seemed to me that they were loaded with football stuff, like shirts. Everything to do with the football, shoes, and there was so many of them. Of course, it's the number one game down there. They called it football. That was football. Football, the pronunciation, yeah. And very, very excited people about football. And there was a big Well, the first game was flat, 90,000.
Yeah, the first game you played was against
Nelder.
Belgium,
Yeah.
and the score there was
Nothing.
3-10, I think. But describe the kind of the sense of the day, you know, as you went to the field. For instance, the report said that you guys sang the Stein song. Come on,
With that big song. Yeah, that was all big.
what started that? I mean, who is that?
Down, da, 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 down, down, da. Well, shout to the right, there's rain. That was it. That was the Billy Shirley Collins song in music. What do you know with the guy that used to sing with the American cousin into his house? Really bad. Really probably that was his theme song and we copied it.
I thought, good idea what it is too.
I think it's really old covering the man that we think.
Yeah?
Think so. Think so. But anyway, they, what was I going to say? When you go to the games, the security, and some of the guys are married, you know.
Yeah.
Well, you have to get back home, you get wives and kids, you know. Yeah. So they come to the hotel, and the cavalry comes, you know, and they look like Germans, they got the points a bit. And I looked out the window and I said to Billy Downtown, should say, they're going to have a parade. So he said, that ain't a parade. I didn't say, well, what's that for? He says, like, that's a protection. I said, yeah, but I don't want anybody. He says, no, neither mind. So we went in the car and then this cavalry with an escort over that we get it that way. Is that right? From the hotel to the stadium. Yeah, but no parade. Which I did not.
Then you were escorted by the cavalry.
And then we got to the park. I mean, this stadium, brand new stadium they built.
Did you walk?
No. When you got it, it went between the bandits. Yeah, they had lines of soldiers with bayonets, and you got up the kind of while doing them. Then you went in the dugout, in the training room, and there was a telegram from the president, I think it was Hilbert, congratulations, you know, wishing you one. The would come out, dress you. There was a big wire fence, a barbed wire, and every 20 yards was a soldier, and that was a huge stadium. Now you're not on a playing pitch, there's a moat of water, and a bridge, and you're over that, and you pull that thing in, now you're in the middle. That's so for protecting the spectators can't get you and put a length on length. It ain't a very perspective or warm and feeling for any goal. And that. So I don't know what effect it would have on the marriage chat. I don't know. But it's not easy, McGee.
How would you describe the atmosphere kind of going to the stadium, you know, with the crowd and there? Was it tense? Was it excitement?
But I built up.
Yeah.
Don't forget the first World Cup game.
Sure.
Yeah, that was something.
Yeah.
In it. But Argentina, there was, and then the big game of the stadium. Yeah, had the supporters, Argentina, don't take more on the boards. Well, there weren't many Yanks there, if any. Only the little squad, remember? One with a little squad of like 20 guys, and everything. They had the flag, a little flag, yeah, like it. And they were faithful support. How many? What was that? Over 20 of them. Maybe. Yeah, expect businessmen. Business, they were working down there. Businessmen, you know. Yeah, well, you went away. Oh, yeah, like sweat, packing companies, so all right, double wide. Yeah. Oh, these other guys who is great at this still. Old job, they're great. Oh, yeah, it's some nice thing.
In that first game, was it, where did you play? In Montevideo?
Yeah.
Right in Illinois. Well, yeah, that was the quarantine, the Americans playing against the Belgians. Who was the crowd with? Could you tell with the part?
I don't know. I ain't much notice. I don't like them. The mind's on the game. I don't think much notice. I don't think we did. They got two foreign teams on there. What you're trying to tell me? Well, yeah, look at my man. That's what they enjoyed the football. Yeah, they love soccer. Don't get them wrong. Yeah, but why don't anybody ever start? But I think the excitement's missing when the home club is not playing. It's around the world that say wear it. And if you knock the green shirt down, if they could get you in the local.
Oh,
yeah, I agree. Yeah, don't knock them down. But if they knock you down, I thought, yeah, it's a big joke.
Okay.
And then somebody hits you, you know, you play yourself, and you're looking, who's that? Number 13. Okay, you know I'm next to it. And when you get close, sometimes you have a dig at them. You try to eat with the score. Yeah, this is what they know. And that's why, you know, they're always for the look here, and that's window what? But look what they did to Jimmy Douglas tonight, didn't he? But now that,
Tell me about how tough the Belgian game was. I mean, Bart McGee scored the first goal, right? With a Bart Patnoy. Who scored the first?
done.
Bart McGee scored the first goal. How quickly?
It wasn't too long. Yeah, it wasn't too long. The Bible caught 29 at the front goal.
What were the field conditions? Can you remember?
Perfect. Yeah,
Is that right?
perfect. And I think I hit the crossbar. Really, I hit the crossbar for a long. It wasn't a shot. Yeah, it was a bad cross. Yeah, cross. Yeah. And I hit the crossbar and way out to about the 18-yard line. Not where Black was coming. I thought it just to be just first time. Yeah. Well, Roger even saw it. I was over here and the should have hit on dead. I thought, yeah. And then you know what? That second goal we caught. That was and you remember that flooding. You know, that meant the goal went on the loose for the defense, and Floyd was just about level with everybody, and they stopped. Not how that late they stopped, and then I played open machines, but Argentinian guy, remember? Well, it's 4-18ers. I'd flood it on and I thrust in the net. Oh man.
So they expected an offside.
I think so. That ball. Yeah, well, we beat them, yeah. We're the we're not, you had said a good team.
With that, the Belgian team, though, was well ranked in Europe, wasn't it? It had been up in the.
I wouldn't know. In a way, I just thought with Belgium and that was the thing that they did, and we went. Big flag, right? Of course, they were the local champions, really. South America.
That was the game, yeah.
Oh, they didn't feel that. We get that. I didn't. So, yeah.
Were all the games played in Montevideo?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. How long after you played Belgium? How many days? Breaks did you have?
2 or 3 days then. Couple of days. Oh, no, we like 2 or 3 days, I think. Yeah, with a gap.
I said, right? And then you took on Paraguay. Then you must have had a partisan crowd in there, eh?
I like that. No, I don't think they were so be falling against. Now, they are kind of not netting these games. But if you close your eyes, you can hear those screaming bands in the roar of the band. Sometimes I do that. Yeah, I can hear that roar. There's a lot of people, 9,000 people over here, and I can hear it.
Oh, it's the same protection, Arnie?
You got soldiers every time.
You know, the report I read, did some research about it. Didn't they start the spectators coming in?
Yeah, and that's another thing. They asked how that, and they would take knives and guns off and throw it in the pot.
Didn't you tell the incident? True.
Well, I know it's true because I seen them. You see, I remember that. Yeah, and I thought, you got that feeling you're not too sick. I don't know. That's right. You could they walked down the street with all the storm.
It wasn't like a drawn here, but who is that? Kalani, but
anybody fights a war, the guy would run it and say, with all another, you're in the middle. But I'm like, that's well, no worries, Kalani. No, people are not the money. Yeah.
Then you're able to
get out of it. Yes, I cut that damn break. Right, able. And we had some music on, we were having a dance, and they got a picture. I know I was dancing with Gonzo, Junior was dancing with, but it's socialized. Yeah, it was a long way from home in here. The music, it was business, I guess. So then anyway, after we got through the tunnel, we started the tour around Brazil.
And I think, you don't like to talk about Brazil yet. Let me to hear about that, but let me hear about Paraguay.
Oh, that? Yeah, God, excuse me.
No, that's all right. But that Paraguay game, that must have been tough.
It's hard to, you go back a long way.
Just a water guy.
A long way. I don't think we're in. I don't think I can remember.
I would owe you nothing.
Yeah, it would be not. I remember we won easily. Oh yeah, the game would never done. If that the game would never done.
Was this how
lead who kept it?
There was no problem. That was the game.
I defense was solid.
Patrick got 3. He got the hat trick.
Yeah. Good at that. Yeah. And then not giving him credit, but
no, it's the guy I don't like. Let's take care of that.
Yeah,
we'll set the record straight here, and then we'll set it straight on paper.
Good.
Yeah,
they might be. Yeah.
So, was that? By the way, what were the dimensions of the field? Just generally, do you remember? I guess.
Yeah, the father told me that instead.
Oh no, don't say.
a World Cup side field, which is 75 yards wide, right? Which is ample for any good soccer. That's right. And the length was the 100 feet. When this thing is 100 yards across. Yeah, you thought it on me, it was like. So, and that gave more room, more space. Everything evidently was done to favor the short pass in South American Cup. Maybe it was done now. I hate to accuse them of doing that. But we never played on things like that. Well, one thought, you know, they bumped it on. Yeah, 120, the lane 20 yards. But we never played on field. Well, what looked like? Yeah. And look, there's an awful lot of gaps in there.
Yeah, the report does say that the official team report does say that the field was unusually wide.
Yeah, no,
That certainly was true. You never played on the same field twice, did you?
yes, it did. We did the first 2 games on the same field.
Well, okay, but the semifinal against Argentina was on the big beer stadium. But you never,
Yeah.
But okay, I got thinking. How long after you got through against Paraguay did you wait before you played Argentina? Just another 2 or 3 days?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Depended on, they must have had a schedule, you know.
Sure.
Whoever was winning it. But we saw plans from Argentina. Well, we watched the match. Yeah, they're over. We're not much watched some match at that. No, needed to.
The lot of reports on that game, the Argentine game. Final score there was 6-1 in favor of Argentina.
Yeah, right.
The score at halftime,
2-0.
2-0.
2-0.
2-0 or 1-0?
I had my impression was 1 apiece at halftime, try.
Oh no, the last goal was scored by you and I said the final minute.
Thinking of the last end, yeah, nobody, yeah. There was 2-0 at that time, Arnie. Maybe that. We might have a good song list.
Yeah, I can't remember it.
And on this particular thing, remember the first goal, big high ball, and they reached up like about 10 feet in from the and that all, and reached up. Yeah. Big high ball, Jerry Douglas, he had it, he went for no problem, and it just stuck there, and stuck. And the ball was only 10 feet from it when it stuck. Yes, such. Because it had only put in with the door. There were not, so there was no bounce at the bottom. And all bodies coming up to pick the bounce up. And it died on it. Played right in the light, and somebody was always a state. We could have hold the water on it, get it away. The goal.
That was the first goal. That would have been out of it.
Second goal, 2 wingers come in and kick Jimmy Douglas.
Is that when the injury took place? When Douglas got his,
Douglas got belted in both his legs, remember? And the goalkeeper, and he got knocked out twice, I believe.
What was the incident? What happened? The wingers can.
I learned to go belt on him. He was wearing a man at the time, said.
I mean, you goalie had goalie. Yeah, if a goalie had the ball, he was eligible to be harassed by the forward, right? Which you can't do now, right? You could hit him also, couldn't you, shoulder to shoulder?
Oh, yeah. Anytime.
Oh, yeah. Shoulder to shoulder. Charge, right? They're charged.
That's fine. You can't charge him in the back.
But what did these 2 wingers do? I mean,
they made him, well, they pressed it and at the ball.
Yeah.
They like him coming out. They probably could have belt on in the slides. You know, I got it in the end to dislodge him, right? Which the referee doesn't have to see. But, well, you know, don't forget, you're always playing away. Yeah,
So did he what did he do? Did he hurt his knee then?
From then on, he played until they took him out and let him put him out in the wing. Yeah. Treasure gets hit before then he gets his leg broken. No settle there.
Yeah.
So where you going to go from there? Then the all gets his stick kicked in.
Yeah.
What?
You know, is that right? I mean, you have to characterize this, like with the handkerchief. You have to characterize this. Sometimes these things happen just because of the tough man.
Yeah.
A lot of times that happens because the guys are going and they're putting the book in.
Yeah.
How would you, how would you characterize the
Monty underwent lock at his leg broken? Yeah. Monty came from his own goal line, and he go right down that line to get kicked. That's what he got.
Monty did the second half.
They come straight down because I was told if you don't get that down the second half,
what is it? At halftime?
Halftime when we went up, didn't we? Yeah. Came to me, the youngest. Hey, I'll not. Pretty odd about it. But, Jimmy, I'll not speak to you again. You don't get that kind of stuff. Monty, then. They won't. They come down with fiddle when Ralph is on the block. One of them that kind of word. Whoa. Glad, no. Oh, he should one try and build out. The book is neat, isn't it? Tracy got the though.
Monty broke his kneecap.
They don't know. Well, no, they don't know. Well, you know, the old thing about that again. We have guys sitting on that stand that could have walked on the circle, yeah.
And when you see he was let go, and went out on FIFA regulations and allowed in it,
We're no longer on that. Nobody else had married men. You know, we're not single. The young guy married.
he had to go back and buy
He
the
got married. Not only that, the safety. They're a long way from home.
Yeah.
We've been up 70 kilometers and been away for quite a while. Yeah. Wow. They got families. They're hoping to get back. Get it and all. And you don't want to get buried down there. That's right. Now that your money's not free and easy. That's what I'm saying.
okay.
And in football, you got to have your mind to it. It's two ways of football. There's a physical and there's a game up here.
Yeah.
And if you can beat them up there, you got the physical attributes to do what this guy sends you down, then you got a good shot and a good chance. Well, boy, I figure it out. And so I know that being a married is not a good thing at the time. Not under those conditions. No, and I don't care, you know, what country, what team. Yeah. And it's bound to be that. And the pressure and the tension's there beside it. So, you know,
Well, let me ask you to talk about the tension, because you're in that match. How tightly were they covering? How tight were the Argentina covering?
I don't think there was much tight cover there. The field was so thick, you know. And you couldn't really lie up against a guy. That could be what you beat you, you get 25 yards clear. You know, that stuff like that.
When you were,
Our game was entirely different today. Yeah, oh yeah. You never saw this stuff that over here today of the guy that the play square, right? Yeah, we didn't play square. They didn't know. Always covered each other. I think it was a nicer game on these stages.
and what more like more scoring?
Oh man.
Something because there was
About hat tricks?
yeah,
No, when you see a hat trick, and one they saw it. No, but it's still the way
you want to break for the month?
I think so, yeah.
So can we break just for a little while? Because it's a bit hard to like that. You don't get out and get some press here and this thing. But don't want to hear about the tour, right?